There's a lot of angry whining in this movie. Oh, brother. So Padme Amidala is not the queen anymore. She's a senator for the Republic. Also, the new bad guy group is called Separatists. The movie begins with some people trying to kill Padme, and it looks like it worked. Actually, no, that was just a decoy. But still, there's a threat and somebody died. So the Jedi say, hey Padme, we're gonna give you some bodyguards. Here's Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's a Jedi, and his Padawan Anakin, who is like his apprentice. Anakin is a teenager now. Uh-oh. He's got a crush on Padme and it's really obvious, and Obi-Wan does basically nothing about this, except basically wagging his finger at Anakin and saying, don't do it. Turns out the security on Coruscant is pretty bad, and this droid thingy puts some snake thingies into Padme's room to kill her. That seems like a weirdly specific way to do that. Like, why didn't they just blow up her apartment? I don't know. I guess it just makes a way for Obi-Wan and Anakin to chase the assassin for like 5 minutes and to show that Obi-Wan is at least kind of responsible while Anakin is a reckless teenager. And that shouldn't be that surprising to anybody, honestly. Anakin is a teenage boy. Most teenage boys think they can do crazy stunts and they think they know everything, and all they think about is girls. I would not put a teenage boy in charge of anything important. Who thinks it's a good idea for Anakin, who's not even a Jedi, to be at least partly in charge of his senator's safety? Shouldn't there be like 5 actual Jedis guarding the room, plus some Republic ships put right outside the room so there's no way that any separatist bad guys could get in there? Why doesn't at least one person stay behind in case there's more than one assassin and somebody could just swoop in to kill Padme once the bodyguards are gone? All these good ideas I mentioned didn't happen, so there was a big security mistake. So the Jedi guys seem to be what we call incompetent. Obi-Wan and Anakin get to the assassin, but the assassin is killed by a bounty hunter from a distance, and the bounty hunter leaves before they can get to him. So the Jedi Council says, okay, Obi-Wan, you go get the bounty hunter, and Anakin, you take Padme back to Naboo. Okay, so I've got like a lot of questions about this strategy. Why didn't they put other Jedis on this, since Obi-Wan and Anakin screwed up? Why do they take Padme to Naboo since everybody knows she's from there? Do the Jedis know for sure that there are not spies or assassins on Naboo? Why don't they take her somewhere else? Why are they having a senator now be guarded by only one guy? Why is a senator only being guarded by an apprentice instead of an actual Jedi? Why is Obi-Wan letting this happen instead of telling the Jedi Council, hey, my apprentice thinks Padme is a pretty lady, you should send somebody else to guard her instead? Do all of the other Jedis have something more important to do? This movie doesn't make any sense, and we're just getting started with the movie. So now there are 2 storylines going on. First, there's Obi-Wan going to this place Kamino looking for the bounty hunter. Apparently, the planet has been kept secret from everybody for some reason. Why is that? Shouldn't the Jedi Council investigate? Okay, nobody's going to investigate that, I guess. They're just going to have Obi-Wan go into the situation alone with no knowledge of what he's getting into and no backup at all. The other storyline is Anakin hanging out with Padme on Naboo and being a whiny teenager who complains and gets mad all the time about how he thinks Padme is really pretty, but he can't smooch her. Maybe things are different on Star Wars planets, but I'm SirDinosaur from Planet X and things are different over there. Like if I was saying to some pretty dinosaur girl what Anakin says to Padme, the dinosaur girl would think I was being creepy and weird. She would probably contact my dinosaur knight commander and say, hey, the knight you sent is creeping me out. Can you send somebody else please so I can tell him to get lost? Oh wait, the creepy guy you sent to protect me is not even a knight, just an apprentice? What kind of chucklehead sends one apprentice to protect a lady who's had 2 assassination attempts recently? Anyway, Obi-Wan gets to Kamino and discovers that these tall, super skinny alien guys are creating an army of clones that all look like this guy named Jango Fett. Sounds kinda like Boba Fett. If I were in Obi-Wan's shoes, I would have all kinds of alarm bells going off in my head, you know? Like, why does the government have a clone army? How does the Jedi Council not know about this? Can't the Jedi sense other people's existences, kinda, since everybody is connected by the Force? If Jedi guys can't sense the existence of the entire planet's worth of people, does that mean they're not like other people and have no connection to the Force? Or is somebody finding a way to hide the existence of an entire planet's worth of people? Who could do something like that? Oh wait, There was a Sith guy in the last movie who gave Obi-Wan a hard time and killed his master Qui-Gon. So maybe there's a Sith guy who's so powerful that he can hide an entire planet from the Jedi all the time, whether he's awake or sleeping or taking a poop. A Sith guy that powerful could probably eat Jedi for breakfast. Maybe the fact that this planet exists at all means that the Jedi are super incompetent, and the second Obi-Wan talked to an alien there, he should have realized all the things I just said and called in a ton of backup immediately instead of continuing to let the bad guys get the jump on him. Just a thought. So Obi-Wan realizes this Jango Fett guy is the bounty hunter who killed the assassin who attacked Padme the second time on the government planet. Jango Fett escapes Kamino, but Obi-Wan puts a tracker on the guy's ship. By the way, Jango Fett has a kid, and I think the kid is Boba Fett from the original Star Wars movies. Or is he just a younger version of a Jango Fett clone? Whatever, it's not that important. So the other storyline on Naboo has more scenes of Anakin whining and complaining and creeping on Padme and outing himself as being the type of guy who thinks he knows everything and wishes he could be a fascist dictator. For some reason, Padme finds him attractive. I have no idea why. It makes no sense. For example, there's this one part where Anakin tries to flirt with her by comparing his home planet of Tatooine to Naboo and saying he thinks Tatooine sucks and Naboo is great. He says, "I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, irritating, and it gets everywhere. Not like here. Here things are soft and smooth." And when he says smooth, he strokes Padme's arm and it makes me shudder and say, "Yuck!" But Padme rolls around in the grass with Anakin and wears kind of revealing outfits in private with him at nighttime, and she's all like, "Sorry, dude, I can't make out with you because I'm a senator." Huh. Is there a rule that senators in Star Wars have to be like Catholic priests and can't smooch anybody? Seems like a bad deal. Anakin has a weird vision for some reason, dreaming that something bad is happening to his mom, Shmi Skywalker. So he goes to Tatooine to save her and brings Padme with him. Oy vey, there are so many problems with this. Does nobody else on Naboo notice that Padme is MIA and reported to the Jedi? Doesn't Padme need to say, "Hey, I'm gonna be out of the office for a few days, talk to Jar Jar or Boss Nass or whoever if you need stuff"? Are the Jedi not asking Anakin for regular updates? Most importantly, if something bad happens to Padme on another planet, that would cause like an interplanetary incident, right? Shouldn't there be somebody who has a problem with this reckless behavior and try to stop it? Oh, they just leave. Okay. So Anakin and Padme get to Tatooine and turns out Shmi Skywalker was kidnapped by the Sand People. Anakin finds his mom and she dies in his arms, so he kills all the Sand People, and I mean all of them. He has this weird conversation with Padme afterwards where he confesses his guilt about having killed even the women and children, and Padme is all like, "Well, people get mad sometimes." And I could just end the review right here. I'm kind of done with this movie. I don't really need to watch anymore. I know how Anakin becomes Darth Vader. He just officially became a bad guy since he murdered innocent women and kids. People might say, "Hey, what are you talking about, SirDinosaur? There's a whole third act of this movie and then another movie after that, since it's a prequel trilogy, not a prequel duology." Anakin's already bad. He's a villain. That's it. This movie is officially not for kids already, since the guy chopped kids up with a lightsaber. But I guess I'll finish this up so I can say I reviewed the whole movie, not just part of it. So Anakin promises to prevent people he loves from dying in the future. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan finds a meeting of separatist bad guys led by a guy called Count Dooku, who used to be a Jedi but is working with bad guys now. And the meeting has one of the Trade Federation guys from the first movie, and they're making a joint army to start a war with the Republic. Count Dooku captures Obi-Wan and tells him that a Sith guy named Darth Sidious is actually controlling the Republic. Also, Jar Jar Binks is like an acting senator for Naboo for some reason, and he proposes a vote to grant emergency powers to Chancellor Palpatine so they can use the clone army. This works, so I guess no one is ever going to question why the Republic just had a secret clone army lying around. They just went, "Oh, cool, how convenient, not suspicious at all." Because everyone in this movie is really dumb. Then Anakin and Padme go to rescue Obi-Wan. Anakin is officially extremely irresponsible by knowingly bringing Padme to a planet where bad guys are when he's supposed to be protecting her and keeping her safe on Naboo. Maybe they'll kick him out of the Jedi Order, but more likely that there are no consequences for this. They've got Obi-Wan in this like gladiator arena place, and Anakin and Padme show up, but they get captured too, and it's looking bad. But oh look, a ton of Jedi guys show up. There are so many Jedi in this battle here that it really proves my point that they have the resources to throw a lot more Jedi guys at all of these problems, and they're choosing to only put 1 or 2 guys on these super important tasks. So either the Jedi guys are like criminally stupid, or the movie is ultra dumb, and I think it's both. One of the Jedi guys named Mace Windu has a purple lightsaber for some reason, and he kills Jango Fett since Jango Fett is there. Count Dooku gets away, so Obi-Wan and Anakin follow him, but they get their butts whooped in a lightsaber duel since apparently Count Dooku is a Sith guy, and Anakin gets his hand chopped off. Then Yoda shows up, and he goes from walking with a cane to flipping around with a lightsaber, and it's kinda cool, but also a little weird. Count Dooku gets away and meets up with Darth Sidious and gives him the plans for the Death Star. The Jedi say they're now experiencing the Clone Wars. Anakin gets a robot arm, and he gets married to Padme on Naboo, and the movie ends. This movie makes no sense, and all the characters are dumb, and it makes excuses for the main character murdering women and children. Not for kids!